Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome those of you here in attendance and those of you joining us online. We're going to begin the service of Joshua Joseph Little. As another gentle reminder to you that are present, please be sure your phones are off. Rabbi Jeffrey Weil, Cantor Daniel Gale from Ezra Habonim, the Niles Township Jewish congregation, will be officiating. At this time, the clergy is going to approach Melissa to perform, or in just a moment, will perform the ancient ceremony of Kriya.
O eternal God, you are our rock, and you have been our refuge in every generation. Before the mountains came into being, before you brought forth the earth and the universe, from eternity unto eternity, you are God. And as for us, you turn to us and say, Shuvu v'nei Adam, return, O mortal ones. 1,000 years, O God, in your sight, are but as yesterday when they are past, for you are eternal. Teach us, therefore, to number our days, that we may attain a heart of wisdom. Friends, we gather today to honor and remember one who possessed a heart of wisdom, a heart of love, a heart of light, Josh Little, his memory for blessing. We'll continue with the 23rd Psalm. You'll find that Psalm in our handouts. But before we read it together, I call on my colleague, Cantor Daniel Gale, to offer a musical rendition of the 23rd Psalm.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
We read those words together, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In a moment, I'll read from the 3rd chapter of Ecclesiastes, which presents this idea, which is certainly a very difficult idea to absorb at various times in our lives, that the notion that everything happens at its season, like there's a purpose for everything in this world. And sometimes, really times like now, that's a very difficult theology to accept, that there's a time for everything that we experience. How could there be a time for everything, including all the pain that we experience? But our tradition, the biblical tradition, guides us in that direction, challenges us, really. In those verses, we talk about there being a time for tearing and also a time for sowing. David Jacobson mentioned the act of Kriya, the ritual of Kriya, which means tearing. And Melissa is wearing the Kriya ribbon at this time. In the Bible, when something calamitous or shocking or very sad would happen, our biblical forebears would tear their garments, really exposing symbolically their wounded hearts. And so I ask Melissa and her family in the first row to rise. I'll approach them and we'll recite the blessing for Kriya, which acknowledges God as the Dayan Ha'emet, the judge of truth. For everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot that which is planted, a time to tear down, a time to build up, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time when we must refrain from our embraces, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to discard, a time to tear, a time to sow, and a time for silence, and a time to speak. And so this is an appropriate time to speak words in memory, in honor of, also celebration of Josh Little. I'll speak and then I'll invite some of his dear friends to speak as well. This is the season of darkness. The nights are long and the days are short. It is no wonder that at this time of year we fill the darkness with lights for Hanukkah, lights for Christmas. We try to bring a little light to dark December. And we, all of this in this large assembly here, standing room, as well as those who are tuning in online, we're experiencing our own dark and sad day. For we mark the end of a life, the life of a man who was beloved, a good, kind, and wise man, a one-of-a-kind man, and a young man with a beautiful family. So it's dark. But just as we try to bring actual lights to dark days, we know in our hearts that there is light even on this day as we mourn the passing of Joshua Joseph Little. For as we grieve for Josh, we feel a greater light. It is his light. It is the light of Josh Little himself. For Josh did shine. His light was bright and real. And it was in his smile. It was in his words. It was in the love that he shared. And we are here because we knew that light and felt its warmth. Josh was the son of Kerry and Joe, his adoring parents. When they adopted him at 2.5 years old, they had only seen a photo of that adorable toddler, and they were so excited to be parents. "I'm a mom," Kerry exclaimed. His name was already Joshua, and they added Joseph, something for father and son to share. That middle name, Joseph, was obviously meaningful to Josh, for he would tell Melissa that he wanted to be a man like his father is, to be like Joe. And Joe, the warmth and kindness that you possess tells me very clearly that your son succeeded. Josh's first meal or an early meal with the family was the famous Mama Little's French toast. An auspicious culinary beginning for Josh. Whatever you fed him, Kerry, seemed to work, for Josh became a strong, active, and fearless child. He tried everything: swimming, baseball, wrestling, football. When he took up wrestling in 7th grade, he lost his first match. He was not discouraged. Neither Josh the boy nor Josh the man was one who would easily get discouraged. He was determined. He lost that first match, and he won the next 17. Not only that, but he became a champion wrestler in both 7th and 8th grades. Decades later, when he wrestled with bigger issues, he would tell Melissa, "You can always do more. You can always do more," meaning persist. Do not give up. He lived that, and it's an important lesson for all of us. Besides his nonstop energy and athleticism, Josh was seriously mechanically gifted. He would marvel to his parents about a cool bike, and then he'd take it apart and put it back together. I personally have never in my life disassembled anything, at least not on purpose. I would not know how to reassemble it. Josh graduated from bicycles to cars. He loved cars, and he and his buddies would work on them in the driveway, and Josh had the skills. He was great with brakes. He could install sound systems and would run lights low along the frame. When I learned that Josh played football as well, I assumed that he played something like running back or wide receiver. I figured short, fast, low center of gravity, strong. Joe corrected me. He played center. Josh played center. Short, powerful, and fearless as well. At a certain point, the other kids on the teams got too big. But having played center is poetic. It's symbolic. For Josh was central. He was at the center, definitely at the center of his buddies, the boys, and beyond. This began early in his life and continued. He was like a magnet. He attracted accrued, gathered friends. For Josh, it didn't matter who, what background, he saw the person. Anything else was completely immaterial to him. He cared about the individual, and he thrived on the camaraderie that the group offered. And it was good to be in his presence. Josh was funny, and he was energetic, and he had that beautiful smile. He was insightful, and he cared. He was the kind of person that people would turn to for advice. He always said the right thing. There was wisdom in that soul. No one benefited more from his wisdom, his kindness, and of course his love than Melissa, his wife and best friend. Josh learned, you told me, Melissa, that Josh learned about good relationships from his own parents, from Kerry and Joe. And you also said that you would not be the person that you are today. You would not be as strong and as brave that you are were it not for your husband. He brought beauty to your world. He brought beauty to the home that you shared, like the flowers that he would bring you, roses with baby's breath, which he would place in the vase. He also brought to your home cleanliness. Josh liked clean, and he liked order. He liked clean and orderly shoes, for instance. And he brought music into your home with his whistling, his humming, his singing. Likely, I'm guessing, classic rock tunes, which he absorbed early from his folks. He brought positivity from the home and out into the world. I'm certain to his work as well, to Nation Pizza, where he, among other things, not surprisingly, worked on their machines, and later to Dr. Pepper. And yes, he brought his positivity to clergy, to me, I know to Cantor Gale as well. I had my first glimpse of that spirit and that positivity that Josh possessed. It was a year and a few months ago at the Friday night Hebrew baby naming for this beautiful miracle baby, Adalyn Rose. It was at our synagogue. Josh adored this child, his daughter. The pictures attest to that. Pictures of them, the two of them, Josh holding her, smiling at her, planting a kiss upon her, priceless. And I know that this is such a great sadness, for this precious little one has lost her father. But I also know this. I also know that this is true. The love that this father shared with this daughter, that will never disappear. That will remain in her heart forever. At that baby naming on that Friday night, the three of them, Josh and Melissa and Adalyn Rose, came up to the bima for a blessing that we bestowed upon them and upon her. And I was watching Josh, actually. I've told Jack this. I was watching Josh, and Josh was, it's not a very familiar environment for Josh. But he was just taking it all in. He was absorbing everything. He was in the moment. And it was immediately abundantly clear to me, this was a man with substance, this Josh Little. I was privileged over the months that followed to see more of that. I would visit with Josh over the year and plus that followed. And Josh was always, besides being very easy to talk to, sometimes in these situations, you worry about that, or you wonder how will this conversation go? Hello, Adalyn Rose. But he was easy to talk to. He made things easy, so easy. And he was thoughtful and introspective and honest. He was hopeful and realistic. And most important, Josh wanted to make sure that his beautiful family would be okay. And he knew that they would be, for he had the assurance of his parents and in-laws, Adalyn's grandparents, Kerry and Joe, Barbara, Jack, and Jackie. He also knew that Melissa and Adalyn would receive the love and support from this village of friends that he created. The same friends who brought Adalyn that gorgeous Lambo, pink, the gorgeous pink Lambo or Lamborghini, which he loved as much as she. Maybe more. Friends, it is a cliche, but it is true. What goes around comes around. Joshua Joseph Little shared love. He brought it out into the world. With his big, broad smile, he shared love and fun and humor and warmth and wisdom, and it all came back to him at the beginning unto the end, thanks to all of you. On Hanukkah, the light increases. We light an additional candle each night. On Christmas, light increases as well. Josh Little increased the light, and he expanded the light in this world. The world needs it. His light was brilliant. May it ever warm your hearts and shine upon your way. Amen. I now call forward Sarah Plotkin. Sarah Brown.
Plotkin's my maiden name.
Oh, sorry. That's what they were told. Yeah. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Sarah Brown. I'm Melissa's cousin. Over the last several months, many of you followed as I told Josh's story. You read about his strength, courage, and love as I shared his journey with you. Today, I want to share a letter with you that Josh wrote Melissa back in 2016. Baby, I want to thank you for the support and love you've shown me throughout my situation. You have given me everything and so much more despite my quirks and sometimes short-tempered manner. LOL. I don't always stop and give you the credit you deserve, but I want you to know how much I adore your work ethic and commitment to making our relationship better. Please don't ever change because I love you for exactly who you are. Love, Josh. Josh has always had an unconditional love for Melissa, Melissa for Josh, and both of them for their daughter, Adalyn Rose. In the beginning of November, Josh asked if he could speak to me privately. We usually only do this when he wants to tell me something serious. The last time he asked to speak to me privately, he told me he was going to ask Melissa to marry him, to which I responded, finally. As Josh and I sat down, he told me to please take care of Melissa and Addie for him. Melissa deserves a real home, with a backyard for Addie to play in. He said, I know it won't be easy, and I know it will take time, but I'd like for them to one day have a house. I told him I will do my best. He spoke about how much he loved you, Mr. and Mrs. Little. He said, I had a great life because they gave me a great life. I love them, and they are all I have ever needed. As we continued to talk, he said, tell Melissa, I always want her to know she can go visit my parents at Fox Lake, Wisconsin anytime. I want her to continue to take Addie there and tell her all of our happy memories. I want it to be a place that reminds Addie of me because it's hard knowing she probably won't remember me. So to honor Josh, I made a video for Addie. It's so she will always know how much her daddy loved her and always know how much he loved her mommy. And I'd like to share it with you, but before I do, I asked myself if there was anything else Josh would want me to tell Melissa. So it would only be fitting for me to quote The Fast and the Furious. Melissa, no matter where you are, whether it's a quarter mile away, halfway across the world, the most important thing in life will always be the people in this room, right here, right now. You will always be with me. Here is the video set to the song See You Again from Fast and Furious 7 from Josh to Addie.
Thank you, Sarah. And now call forward three of Josh's dear friends, Cigar, Sam, and Kenny.
Good morning. It's a tough speech to make after that video. Time. Time is of profound significance. In these recent days, I've immersed myself in the profound ticking of our internal clock. How privileged I am to have shared substantial moments with Josh. We roared with laughter, navigated tears, voiced our grievances, enacted dramas, and journeyed together as true brothers. Together, we erected a business, engaged in relentless philosophical battles, his stance forever stubborn and sealed in cement. Explored the intricacies of family, and most crucially, even in separation, a beat remained unwavering. As we step into a new chapter, embracing Josh's spirit as a united family, let's undergo a paradigm shift. Today, Josh isn't being consigned to the earth, he is being planted, a potent force ready to spring forth. He isn't lost forever, he is a perpetual guiding light, beckoning us onward. Today, his voice echoes, urging us not to mourn, but to exuberantly celebrate. May he rest in unshakable peace, his soul an eternal blaze illuminating the path for the Little family. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Sagar, and I'm here to talk to you all for a minute about one of my best friends. Sorry.
You got it.
Today we gather not only to mourn, but to celebrate the life of Josh Little, a dear son, a loyal friend, a loving husband, and an incredible father. I had the privilege of meeting Josh back in our freshman year of high school in 2002, an intro to geography class. He decided to sit down next to me, and I thought that he was a super interesting person from the first day that I met him. From the very start, our shared passion for cars forged a bond that will last a lifetime. Every Saturday morning, you could find us at his house with our hands covered in grease, working on our cars. And to those friends out there, you know how often we'd spend time tinkering with our vehicles. Even if the jobs were not perfectly done, Josh would always encourage me to strive for perfection, to do things a little better each time. He wasn't just teaching me about cars, he was teaching me about life. Josh had an uncanny ability to understand people. He understood me in ways that few others did. Supporting the decisions I made, even when they were hard to grasp. His sense of humor was infectious, always joking and laughing, brightening the days of everyone around him. He introduced me to many people in this room who I am proud to call friends to this day. Josh was the nucleus of our group, always there to listen and support, never faltering in his loyalty and kindness. But beyond being a friend, Josh was an extraordinary partner to Melissa. The deep love and care he showed her were profound. And Melissa, look at this room filled with people who have showed up, that care so much, and have showed up to give one last goodbye to Josh. You are definitely not alone on this journey. And as a father to his little girl, Addie, he was nothing short of amazing, instilling in her the same joy and enthusiasm for life that he shared with all of us. Even in his last days, Josh remained the most selfless man I have ever known. It was never about him. It was about how he could make life better for others. As we say goodbye to Josh, I am reminded of how much color and positivity he brought into our lives. I can only aspire to be as spirited and vibrant as he was. His legacy will continue to live on in all of us. Josh, my friend, you will be profoundly missed, but never forgotten. Thank you for everything.
Hey everybody, my name's Kenny. Met Josh in high school. So as I was kind of sitting there thinking about, the 20 plus years of friendship that we had, and trying to think of these things that I could talk about what kind of person he was, I think that's all already been covered. So anybody that's hung out with Josh or been to a party with him knows that whenever you have a drink together, he says one specific thing. And I feel like that would be the best possible thing I could do, is to say those words back to him, because that's going to be my lasting memory for the rest of my life. So to Josh and all of our friends, never above us, never below us, always beside us.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one. How's your car show? I got you one. Thank you. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember him. In the blowing of the wind, in the chill of winter, we remember him. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember him. In the rustling of leaves, in the beauty of autumn, we remember him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember him. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember him. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember him. So long as we live, he too shall live, for he is now part of us as we remember him. There's a beautiful traditional Hebrew prayer called the El Malei Rachamim, which means God full of compassion. And Cantor Gail will chant it first, and then I will read it in English. If it's comfortable for you to do so, please rise for this prayer.
Hail, Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bameromim, Hametzei Menucha nechvona tachat kanefei hashechina במעלות קדושים, במעלות קדושים, קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מזהירים את נשמת Josh, son of Joe and Kerry, שהלך לעולמו. בגן עדן תהא מנוחתו. הסתירהו בסתר כנפך לעולמים. בצרור החיים, בצרור החיים, את נשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתו, וינוח בשלום, וינוח בשלום. משכו ונאמר אמן.
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence with the holy and the pure who shine like the glow of the heavens, to Joshua Joseph Little, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence and within the shadow of your wings. Let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And we say, Amen. Amen. You may be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, the interment service will continue at Willow Lawn Memorial Park in Vernon Hills. For those of you who will be driving in the funeral procession, the procession will be forming in our parking lot. Please obtain an orange safety funeral sticker to place on the right-hand side of your windshield. Have your bright lights and hazard lights on at all times. For additional measures of safety, we will be providing a car in the back of the procession to hopefully keep other cars from entering the procession. Please use your horn liberally as you're going through the intersections, and please do not speak or text on your cellular phone while driving to the cemetery. The condolences will continue here at the funeral home following the interment till 8 p.m. Memorial contributions in his memory to the National Brain Tumor Society would be appreciated. That information is on the website. For those of you who are joining us online, that information is on the funeral home's website. I apologize, it's on your service folder for those of you who are here, website for online. At this time, I invite everyone to please rise as we escort the family from the chapel to the private family room. If you are not going to the cemetery, we do ask that you leave the parking lot promptly. Thank you.
What is he like? Put a song on. Oh, put in See You Again. See You Again? Yeah.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling stronger. What's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken. The love will never get lost. And when brotherhood comes first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach. So remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
Let the light guide your way. Yeah. Oh.